Disclaimer: doll customization is not for children. I am using toxic chemicals as well as sharp and hot tools. Hello my loves, I'm Susika and welcome to another episode. In today's video I am going to make a beautiful mermaid doll. Are you excited? Let's start. This is today's candidate, a Monster High doll. I start by undressing the doll. After that I cut her hair as close to the scalp as possible. Next I am going to work on the doll's tail. First, I add a drop of super glue to each knee joint and let it dry. This will make the knee joint stiff. Then I'm going to cut one leg just right under the knee joint. I use a hand saw for this. I cut the doll's foot from the remaining leg. Be careful when you use a handsaw. Next, I bring water to a boil, then soak the doll's head in the hot water for 10 minutes. Then I carefully remove the head from the neck pack. With an old screwdriver, I scrape the inside of the doll's head to remove the hair roots and glue. With needle nose pliers I remove what is inside the head. I soak a cotton pad in pure acetone and remove the printed on face. Wear gloves when you work with acetone. Next I am going to reroot this doll's head. For that I am going to use synthetic doll hair in pale pink and pale purple. I use the rerooting tool to push each strand of doll hair into each hole in the doll's scalp. I start at the hairline of the doll. I slowly fill in all the holes in the doll's scalp with hair. I really like using different colors for the hair, not just one color. Once I am done, I have to secure the hair inside the doll's head. For that I am using thick glue, which I spread with a brush. I then let the glue dry for 1 to 2 days, then pour boiling hot water over the doll's hair. This will straighten the hair, and then I let the hair dry. I prepare the doll's body with 2 layers of Mr. Super Clear UV cut flat sealant spray and add pastels to her joints. I then add shimmer powder to the doll's skin. I then seal in the pastels in the shimmer powder with this layer of sealant. Now I am working on the doll's tail. I first wrap tape around the legs. Next I am going to work on the fin. For that I gather a shimmering fabric with needle and thread. I gather stitch the fabric, then tie a tight knot. Next I cut glitter fabric to the desired length. Then attach the glitter fabric to the doll's legs with hot glue. Be careful not to burn your fingers when you work with hot glue. I add a pearl garland around her waist and then a piece of elastic with a glittering fabric for her bust, and I decorate the top with a little garland. Next I work on the doll's face. For that I prepare the face with 2 layers of Mr. Super Clear UV cut flat sealant spray. Then I add pastels to her cheeks, nose, lips and forehead, and then I add some pastels around the doll's hairline. I also add eyeshadow in purple and pink. With a white watercolor pencil I color the base for the eyes. I draw eyebrows in pink. Next I am working on her lips. I use pastels and watercolor pencils to color her lips. I draw lines next to her nostrils, and when I sketch the outline for her eyes, her iris will be green. I am also using watercolor pencils to color her iris. I draw the lash line in pink. Whenever I want to save my progress or want to build up opacity, I add a layer of sealant spray to the doll's face. I also add some more pastel powder around her eyes. I add some more pastels to her lips, and then I add the same shimmer powder I used on her body on her face. This is going to be a very sparkly mermaid. I color the upper part of her iris dark green and the lower part of the iris light green. Here I outline the iris with a dark green watercolor pencil. I add pastels in multiple layers of sealant. Here I darken the corners of the lips and the eyebrows. I use a darker pink watercolor pencil to darken the eyelashes too. And I work some more on her lips. With the kneaded eraser I can fix the amount of pastel powder I added to her face. And with a wet brush I can fix watercolor pencil lines. Here I darken the lash line, then I add freckles in pink and white. I'm using gouaches and a dotting tool for this. Next I add catch lights to the doll's eyes with white gouaches and a dotting tool. I let the gouaches fully dry before I add another layer of sealant spray. I darken the lines with black. I always use black last. I add some white to the inner corners of her eyelids. I also add some white gouaches to the sclera. And lastly I add white eyelashes with a nail art brush and white gouaches. After 2 more layers of sealant, the face up is done. I reattach the head to the body. And this is the finished mermaid. How do you like her? I think she looks like a mermaid bride. I also added a stola out of the pearl garland I used on her waist. I also added white freckles to her shoulders and décolletage, and a garland with flowers and pearls for her hair. Let me know in the comments what you think of my doll. Stay safe and be creative.